Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 172, Segmental Health Awareness. Recorded on Friday, November 12th, 2021 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
All right, as always, we'll start with our announcements and events. We have got a upcoming webinar, our November webinar. It is going to be on Tuesday, November 16th at 12 p.m. Pacific time, and that is our Zoho Mail full product tutorial. Tyler, this one's on me. I haven't started it. I'm going to have a fun weekend. I'll put this thing together. We'll get this thing done. We have moved. If you're confused, yes, it was at 10 o'clock, and then it was going to be at 11 o'clock, and then it was going to be at 11:30. But we've moved it to noon. And why have we moved it to noon? Because of Zoholics at Home, which is on exactly that same date. That's running from 10 to 11. It might go a little long, and we're probably going to want a little break. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, if you haven't done it, the second annual Zenmees is coming up, and I would love for everyone to head over to zenatta.com/ZENMYS Zenmees and vote for the 2021 Zenmees. This is where you talk about what your favorite new Zoho application is going to be, your favorite telephony solution for Zoho, what's your favorite marketplace application. And then we want you to mixing it up a bit this year. Pick 2 to 5 applications that are your overall favorite applications. Those will be the ones getting the awards at our year-end show, which will have the dates and times, and we will announce that next week. But that is going to be a lot of fun as always. And if you want to know about all the events coming up in the world of Zoho, well, if you head over to zenatta.com/events, we keep track of not just our stuff, but everybody's stuff. So all the CRM Zen shows, our webinars, we've got Zoholics at Home. There's a whole the Zoho user group is having a virtual meetup in California where they're going to go over the new Sales IQ 2.0. That's going to be a 2-hour presentation. You won't want to miss that. Zoho is going to do a webinar where they're going to deep dive into their hybrid events in Zoho Backstage. That's going to be November 19th from 3 to 4. Anyway, head over to zenatta.com/events to find out everything that's going on in the world of Zoho. And with that, Tyler, before we get into the news, I do want to talk about Zoholics at Home. Again, that is coming up, streaming live, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, November 16th. We were looking at the customer panel they're going to have. That's basically going to be Brian Duggan, Kevin Flynn, and Britt Smith. And man, are we well represented. 2 of our clients, Counterculture Coffee and Premier Ophthalmic. Is that, I pronounced that right? Ophthalmic Services. That's Kevin and Brian, great guys, and they're going to be on that panel. So we're really happy to say that. Those are just 2 really good Zoho users too.
Yeah,
I mean, they really
know their stuff.
They know their stuff, and they've got some great systems that they've set up for their organization. So good stuff there. And with that, let's get right on into the news. All right, Zoho Desk has celebrated its 200 plus extensions. Normally we wouldn't cover something like this, but Tyler, we were talking before the show, Zoho Desk marketplace apps are a little different in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they definitely are. It seems like in the goal of keeping Desk relatively lightweight and fast, like when you're using it, they will deploy certain new features and functionalities as marketplace plugins. So things like round robin assignment, advanced reporting, some additional customer insights when you're looking at a ticket. They're all actually built by the Zoho Desk team and then deployed via the marketplace. So you can turn them on if you want to. So we like to highlight this just because it's worth taking a look at that Zoho Desk marketplace, because there's a lot of things in there that are, super useful for many people, but they end up just getting deployed through the marketplace itself.
Yep, good stuff. So, and with that, let's move on with the news. So, boy, we talked about this one before the show. I read this article a couple times. I think we figured it out. So there is a Zoho Mail Outlook add-on or add-in, empowering Outlook users to tackle spam better. And this appears to just be a plugin for Outlook that does some spam filtering.
Yeah, it does a couple different things. So you're actually able to look at like probable threats. So it's looking at like potential threats. You're able to report spam and report phishing a little bit more easily here. And then you're able to set up block and allow lists for different senders or incoming emails within Outlook using this plugin. It's kind of interesting. It does seem like it's built for like the desktop version. Down at the very bottom, it says it's supported in 32 and 64-bit. So I'm thinking that's probably for the local version. Kind of an odd one. We were talking about it before the show. It's one of those updates that doesn't always make sense how things get to the top of the list. But someone must have been asking for this, or they might have just thought maybe it's a good use case to try to bring some Outlook users into Zoho Mail, you know, a little gateway drug or something like that. But definitely a weird one.
Yeah. And again, another cease and desist letter is going to have to go out. They're using the word inbox Zen. That is something that now
you'll be hearing from our lawyers.
I am trying to completely trademark the word Zen. I figure if Zuckerberg can go after Meta, he's trying to lock down the word Meta.
I think we've got a similar amount of swing as Mark Zuckerberg, right? I think so.
We do. Maybe we can get Elon on our side. He takes up crazy causes. You never know. All right. And then moving on with the news, this is kind of a crazy one. We talked about this a while back, but evidently, if you don't follow security warnings, Tyler, and you don't patch your system after a 0-day announcement, well, bad things will happen. And Chinese hackers are targeting a password flaw. It's an OAuth flaw in managed engine. And they've got it. They're going crazy. They're using the Godzilla web shell to get out there. But we've got a link to the article. It'll be in our newsletter. You can read about this. Bottom line is, this patch I think this thing was identified on September 8th, I would guess. Mm-hmm. They saw another campaign hit on the 17th. Then on the 22nd, they started the data that they harvested. They started going after targets. What I think is interesting here is we're talking like critical government infrastructure here in the US, mm-hmm. right? I mean, so there's, I was unaware that Managed Engine was as widely deployed as it is. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is Zoho's basically remote management tool that allows you to push patches and keep track of all of your assets, whether it's mobile phones or desktops. It does all of those kind of things.
Yeah, and I think the big element here as well is that if you're also using Active Directory with Manage Engine and you have this breach and you haven't patched your server, because this second round here is only going after customers who have not yet patched the fix to this vulnerability. And so if you haven't done that yet, people can actually slip through and actually get access to your Active Directory, which then branches into a ton of other logins, and anything where you've got a single sign-on would be at risk.
Yep. So patch your Manage Engine. And a PSA here from your good friends at Zenatta Consulting and the CRM Zen show. And shout out to Wayne for the little Godzilla silhouette eating Zoho there. Nice, nice job putting the deck together. All right, let's move on. This is a simple one. Zoho Workily, you can now accept jobs by the agent. So Zoho Workily basically allows you to manage your temp employees, and maybe you've got piecemeal work, and people can say, yes, I want to accept a job, and they can log into the app and they can take that job. That in the past, that was the only way they could accept the job. But now the manager, which is called the agent in this case, can go ahead and accept the job offer for them. You talk to someone on the, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing there. So it's just nice to give them another option, right? Maybe people aren't as comfortable working inside a Workily and they just want to shoot you a text saying, yep, I'm in for this job. You can just go in and accept on behalf of that temp. Yep.
Talking to them on the phone, message, it's nice. So something that I imagine a lot of people using Workily wanted to have. And this is nice in Zoho. It's a colorful world out there in Zoho. More and more color is being added to CRM, randomly producing rainbow effects when you least expect it. And they are now customizing the color of the taskbar in the Gantt chart. Woohoo!
Yeah, and that's pretty slick. With projects, it really is built to be managed via Gantt charts. It's designed for cascade or waterfall project management. So the more customization here, the better. It does look like it's kind of specific to a task. I don't know here if you're able to set like a option, if the task name is this, then always use this color, but you can surely build them out here as you're defining the Gantt chart for a certain project and get everything color coded.
Yeah, it would be nice to kind of have a color palette for like the task of the subtasks. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that
or
they
color
can
coded
kind of
by
group them
user
together.
or something like that automatically.
Yeah, that color change is user specific. Therefore, oh, that's kind of Therefore, it will not affect how other users view the tasks.
Got it.
So don't spend all this time getting your perfect color coded Gantt chart together and say, "Hey, everybody, look at it," because I guess they're not going to see it. But you never know. You never know.
Hopefully in a future update, right?
Yeah, yep. In the current the color that they added to the CRM is just great. So they've added some really nice color coding. You can color code your tasks, you can color code your statuses, you can color code pretty much anything in a pick list, right?
Yep.
Super, super nice. But it is having random effects where if you have a chart that you've built out, maybe you've gone into the dashboard, you built out a dashboard, you pull it to your homepage. And on our homepage, we've got like 9 different charts showing us all sorts of stuff. It will just randomly colorize the whole thing. It just comes and goes. It's I don't know what where it's coming from, but anyway, good on Zoho for colorizing Gantt charts. And then we've got Zoho Books updates for November 2021. Nice stuff here. Living in books, you can now have reporting tags for credit and debits, which you couldn't have before, which is super nice. I will say that they are talking about a lot of things in here. You've got this all new bank account overview page. I don't have it. I don't have it on any account. I haven't seen it on any client accounts yet. So, but they are really nice kind of cleanups that they've done to Zoho Books. But have you seen this on any of our clients yet?
No,
I
I've
just
not
haven't seen these
seen. I've
features.
not seen the new bank account overview page. Looks like a big improvement though, kind of giving you more of like a
Huge.
chart view, some better roll ups, what's going on within that particular bank account.
Yeah, it's good, but it's just I just have no for some reason I can't ever get this to pop up. So they say it's coming in November, or it is a November update, but I just don't know when it's going to be released. If they're rolling it out, sometimes Zoho rolls this out bit by bit by bit. So good stuff. Zoho Books is a fantastic application. It falls in our maybe list, but for most companies, I think it really does what it needs to do. So, alrighty, and then we will move on with more news, Tyler. Zoho Campaigns has released something around segments updates. This just dropped 10 hours ago. We're recording this on Friday morning, so it looks like it dropped about midnight. This is interesting. We weren't going to put it in, but we decided we are going to put it in because at the very, very end of this, what they're basically saying is you're going to change the way that you're able to segment out your lists inside of campaigns. But at the very end of this article, it says, we'll publish a detailed release note on this along with the introduction of multi-portal and updates to workflows. We thought it's important to let you know in advance. There's actually a whole lot more happening that I think will drop on November 17th. So Zoho Campaigns is going to completely change a lot of things. It's actually going to have real two-way syncs.
Yep.
Right. Writing data back and forth between the CRM and campaigns. And you kind of dug into this a little deeper. I mean, there's just seem to be a lot of little interesting things that are going to come with this. We don't know for certain yet. There is a post that it doesn't say in the post. I read it this morning. It doesn't say we can't talk about it, but kind of major changes on how things are synced to campaigns and how you manage things in campaigns.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more segment driven. So this update here is definitely a step towards that, because this, when you're talking about segments here, they're not referring to a segment within a particular mailing list, how you're doing them right now. This is a like master segment. So if you had a particular state value and you had a sync of leads that was going into one place and a sync of contacts into another, you could create a segment for the state of California that pulls in all leads and all contacts in that particular state, regardless of what list they're in. And these types of segments are going to become a lot more common as they roll out more changes to that sync infrastructure. They're going to be for the better. The updates that they've kind of been talking about are going to solve some of the core issues that go into that current integration between the two apps.
So basically, you don't have to worry about syncs anymore. Everything is going to sync from your CRM, pretty much. And you will be able to determine whether those contacts, leads, deals, all that stuff, whether it's a marketing or a non-marketing lead. If it's a marketing lead, then it goes against your number. If I'm listening to you correctly and reading this, normally in the CRM, I would set up a custom view and I would sync that custom view
to a specific list.
To a specific list. Is that going to be a segment now? That's my custom view?
Yeah, a lot more is going to be managed within campaigns itself. They're kind of trying to bring it into line with how HubSpot, Sales Hub, and Marketing Hub work together, where they're kind of like two sides of a coin. Whereas right now with CRM and campaigns, it's just a pull from CRM into campaigns. And, it's not nearly as dynamic as it will be.
Right. So will you even manage any of your views out of CRM anymore? It doesn't seem like
it doesn't sound like it. No, it doesn't sound like it. It seems like it's going to be mostly segment driven. And with that, they're making some significant changes to workflows where currently a workflow can be entered based on a contact or lead being in a list. They're changing that to also allow a contact and lead entering a segment to enter them into a workflow, which is a huge quality of life improvement if you're building out a lot of complicated workflows and campaigns.
Yep. All righty. And Raina in the chat room asks, does Zoho integrate with Constant Contact? Yes, there is a plugin in the marketplace and you can integrate it with Constant Contact from there. And I actually think that plugin might have been written by Constant Contact. I'm not sure, but it's a good one. Is the issue fixed where a client unsubscribes from a list and you can't email them from the CRM? I don't know. Kevin's asking that in the chat room as well. I don't think so. Not yet. You kind of got to go in and
and it's kind of the problem Kevin's talking about is that when you unsubscribe in campaigns, you can unsubscribe from a list or unsubscribe from the sender as a whole. And there's kind of an issue there where if I unsubscribe from a list, it writes that back to the CRM as an email opt-out, which disables all mailing to that person, even though they didn't really say that. They only said, take me off your newsletter list, right? Or something more specific. So hopefully, Kevin, that gets captured in this update, but they haven't specifically referenced that issue.
All right. Well, maybe this will reference it because it sounds like there's a lot more.
Hopefully, yeah. There's going to be a lot of changes that's going to go on.
Yeah. All right, and Zoho Subscriptions has some November updates, and we were talking about them earlier. I like them a lot. You can now charge upfront fees, so you can set that up. So let's say you've got a trial that you're giving someone, but you want them to, even though it's a trial, maybe they need to pay a little money upfront. It'll be a separate invoice that comes in. They've integrated with Razorpay over in India, but man, the one I really, really like is in Zoho Subscriptions. You have the ability to go ahead and build out these little payment pages. They're called widgets, and you basically lay them all out. You set your color scheme. You determine if you want them to be monthly, annually. You can do a very, very nice job with this. They've got a lot of templates. You can set these up in subscriptions. Once you're done, you get a little bit of JavaScript. You take that, drop it on your website, and people can subscribe to your stuff. They now, what you've never been able to do is have add-ons on this, where they can pick and choose their add-ons. So I think this is a very, very nice upgrade.
Well, but to clarify too, this wouldn't be for the new subscriber to pick their add-ons. You would be predefining it. So they still
predefining that they're in there, but you're showing that the add-ons are in, right?
Yeah.
So you have the base package, you've got these add-ons in it, you've got this, you can build a subscription with the add-ons in there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Pretty good. It looks like you might be able to change the quantity though.
Yep. But that would be for you to change, not for the customer. That's still the one last little missing thing is an a la carte option for add-ons. I want to grab these 3 and include them with my subscription. Whereas here, us setting up the subscription or predefining that it's going to include those. So it's definitely a nice improvement because tracking things via add-ons is a nice way to look at, all customers who have API access in this example, at least, regardless of what subscription they're on. So there's some reporting benefits for setting it up this way.
But I'm curious because this is a step. I want to play with this because you can turn on quantity.
Mhm.
So when I click the subscribe button, is it going to allow me to adjust those quantities? That'll be
Oh,
the
of the
interesting thing.
add-ons. Yeah, that would be an
Yeah.
interesting one.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look. We'll have to take a look. Anyway, all righty. And then moving right along, Tyler, Creator got a bunch of updates for November. Talk to us about them.
Yeah, so kind of a handful of updates here. The first one is just around field limits. They've basically adjusted some of the different field limits between email, single line, and choice fields to try to give you more options. So, emails are going from 80 fields to now up to 200, but with a shorter character limit. Choice fields are going from 80 to 160, again, with a shorter character limit. And then single line is staying essentially the same. I think you have slightly less of those on a creator form now. They're also rolling out expanded bulk APIs. So you're going to be able to process records beyond the limit of 200. That's always been Zoho's kind of maximum amount of records you can hit in one API call. It looks like they're working to expand that. Please, oh, please, Zoho, do that in the CRM as well. Please do that everywhere. And then they're building out some more ZIA. This is kind of a common theme. So some more ZIA insights for reports that you're pulling in Creator. Those are those kind of embedded Zoho Analytics reports that pull in, and they're giving you that tab for insights now to kind of get some machine learning models to tell you what to look at when you're reviewing those reports.
All right, some enhanced UI and PDF attachments. So that's actually pretty nice, isn't it? So some nice new UI changes there. So we will have our creator guys take a look at it. They're probably going to be excited. And with that, Tyler, you're going to take us to the implementation of the week. And we didn't even talk about this, so I'm excited to hear what we got this week.
Yes, this is one that the team built out here. It's got kind of a couple key elements to it. So it's basically using a Zoho Creator Form with some built-in address validation and then a redirect to Zoho Sign. So the large scale use case is basically that we want to make a form where we can capture all of the relevant data with a nice UI that's needed to populate a certain contract. And it's really important that within that contract, we have a valid address. And so basically what we did here is built out a Zoho Creator Form that can capture all of that information needed for the Zoho Sign document. As they enter their address, it gets validated via an API call to a service called Smarty Streets. We use it all the time. You basically send it an address. It tells you yay or nay, right? Is this real? Does this match the USPS formatting, and all those little nitty gritty things that you see, when you sign up for a new account on a site. It says, oh, did you mean this address? And it's got just slightly different formatting. Services like Smarty Streets provide that. But the big thing about this automation here is that when they finish the creator form and they've filled out all of the information and they submit the form, it actually opens up a Zoho Sign document unique for that customer in that same tab. So there isn't any like submit the form and then I get it as an email or I get it as a text and I have to do it later. It's all part of like one process. So the minute that I submit the form, it's opening the signed document. It's got all of the data in that document that I just put into the form, and then I can just sign it and move right along. Of course, all that data writes over to the CRM. There's kind of some SMS automation built in here. But the big use case for this is just that, you're taking out one whole step where you're going to have fall off, right? And that is where someone fills out a form, gets an email, but they have 100 emails in their inbox and, it goes to the ether and never gets signed. This is just a way to cut out one step and make sure that you're maximizing your throughput of people that are giving you the information and then signing the document.
Totally slick.
Yeah,
How much is
great.
Smarty Streets? Is Smarty Streets based on like number of API
Yeah,
calls?
it's on a per call basis. I forget exactly what it is. It's like fractional cents. Maybe one of the team members knows off the top of their head, but it's relatively inexpensive.
You just buy small.
Yeah, you just buy some credits. They may have a auto upgrade or an auto increase if you run out. Yeah, pretty great service. It's pretty much our default if we ever need this, right? Because it's in a very easy to use API. Gives you very predictable data, very accurate address validation. So we find it's a pretty good tool.
Yeah. So if you're watching us on YouTube, I'll read out. So really cheap, 5,000 lookups a month is going to cost you $54, and you can do 50 lookups a second. So for most, looks like that unless you go to their unlimited plans, you can do 300. So that's really it's gonna take care of most people, I think.
Yeah.
Reasonable, easy to work with.
Very easy to work with. Yeah.
Excellent.
Even I could do it. And I'm far from the best coder on our team nowadays.
All right, let us move on with this week's read. I love this one. Simplify your business with the layer method. This is by Richard Schnitzel. And this is over at the Zapier blog. We've talked about it before. Who turned us on to the Zapier blog? Do you remember?
Is it
Cody?
Venu? I think it was Venu.
Venu, okay. Anyway, great. I look over here, every week, and it's man, I tell you what, between Zapier and HubSpot, man, these guys, they write some articles. Anyway, here's a nice one. October 25th this dropped, so a little while ago, but I wanted to bring it out because this is timeless. It basically is, how do you run your business? And basically, what do you do with your lead to a sale? Everything you need to think about when you're setting up your overall process. He calls this the layer method, where you're layering things on top, if you're spending too much time in the lead stage, and basically going through the entire process of what you want to automate, what happens at each step, what you need to do, all the things that are involved. And of course, since it's a Zapier blog, they're kind of throwing in those automations. But there's just a big chunk of this that, a lot of our customers ask us, man, what are the things we need to do? And it's really, well, let's, think about your overall process. Think about what you do with the lead, and, when you want to convert that lead, and then what happens each step of the way, and what tasks need to be done. And, when it actually becomes an opportunity, what do you do when it's an opportunity? What are the stages of your sales process? And then what happens along those stages, and what reminders do you want to have it go out? What emails do you want to have go out? And then when you close the deal, well, then the fun begins. So what's the old post-sale process, and what's that look like? And anyway, I thought this to be a really nice guide to that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's useful to just break things into steps, like if you look at like what all it takes to, walk through that step of getting a lead all the way through offboarding, or, working on continued business with a customer, it can be kind of overwhelming, right? To think through it all. And I think breaking it into, we often call it stages. They're using the word layer here, but it's that same concept of like,
yep.
You've got these different stages or layers, and there have to be a few things that need to be done to go from layer A to layer B. And so being very specific and kind of trying to break things into those different stages or layers can be a useful exercise, just to figure out exactly what it does take to close a sale.
Yeah. And everything he really talks about here, he's talking about using ActiveCampaign and Gmail and the rest. This is stuff we automate on a daily basis natively inside Zoho.
Yep.
So really good stuff. Good article there, Richard. And thank you, Zapier. And now we'll move on to what is new over at Zenatta.com. Want a big shout out to Fidalgo Coffee Roasters. Gave us a really, really nice case study. These guys have been fun to work with. I think you work with this account, don't you?
I worked with a little while back. It's mostly Josh nowadays.
Josh
driving this one. Yeah. It kind of started off as, some integration with an e-commerce site, doing some product-based marketing, but really grew out to basically a whole delivery and fulfillment management system that's been built out in Creator. That's basically custom to their exact workflow. So it's a great team to work with over at Fidalgo, and it's been a really fun engagement.
Yep. Good stuff. Shout out to Dave, the owner over there. Thank you so much. And also, we've got an article, 6 integrations to immediately set up in Zoho One. So you get your new Zoho One, and you need to do, there's some things you might want to integrate out of the box. A lot of people think that things are integrated immediately when you get Zoho One, and they're not. So this is a step-by-step guide. And basically, once you go through this, you're going to find a whole bunch of other things you want to integrate as well. I think one of the cool, important things that the team did when they put this together is, if you're in the CRM or if you're in the marketplace, there are all these different ways to add in various things. Some of them are, you go to the marketplace and you go to the Zoho, and then they're there. But everything now completely redirects to the marketplace. So we've got the quick links in here. Sign, Desk, Cliq, Sales IQ, the entire finance suite, which is a whole nother thing in of itself to talk about on that integration. Zoho Survey. Anyway, just a few, dropped them in here. Once you get started with these integrations, pretty straightforward from there. All righty. And with that, Tyler, let's get over to our pick of the week. This one was pretty cool. For those of you guys who don't know what Bitly is, it is a link shortener for Zoho Cliq. And basically you put in a super long URL. Actually, what Bitly, if you go to the Bitly website, you put in a super long URL, you hit shorten, and it gives you a very short URL that you can share with people. Well, now you can go ahead and link your Bitly account to Zoho Cliq, and away you go, shorten links directly inside of Cliq, which is pretty cool. I love this feature. Got nothing?
Yeah, I don't have much on this one. When would you shorten a link inside of Cliq?
Well,
like if I drop a massive link into Cliq, it does like the card, so you don't really see the URL, right?
No, I think this is the old slash command. So you're wanting to quickly get a shortened URL that maybe you can share with someone else, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
That you want to share with the rest of the world. So you never have to leave Cliq. You could just stay inside Cliq and shorten your URL and then send it out to your customer. Gotcha. It's just one less tab you have to open up. Yeah.
Oh,
well, what I love here is that this was developed by Easy to Check Software Solutions, and it's the Bitly link shortener.
They even shortened the name of the word
shortened the name shortener for Zoho Cliq. Anyway, pretty cool. I mean, there's so much you could do in Cliq, Tyler. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We love it, the different applications. So anyway, just one more I thought I would throw in here. I am sorry you were so unimpressed.
Oh, and I'm being enlightened. I'm being enlightened a little bit more here by someone in the chat. So Bitly also has some link tracking analytics. So you might want to grab a Bitly version of a link to get better analytics on the usage of that link. Fantastic. So I'm proven wrong. There is a use case here.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm hurt. You're picking the pick of the week next week. All right, this is it.
Don't put that on me.
All right, and that moves us on to our tips of the week. 5 this week. We basically have broken down everything you need in Zoho Sign. So settings, templates, sample document automation, sign tags, creating forms. It's all there. And where do you find that, Tyler? You find that over at youtube.com/Zenatta, where we have all of our videos. And so if you go to the recent uploads, all 5 of those are going to be right at the top. It's also a playlist as well. So you can kind of go through our playlists and find any playlist that you would like. And that's going to take us, Tyler, to our Q&A. I should say, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Smash that button. Do whatever the YouTubers say.
And Wayne is going to be happy with you for that one.
I know. Well, I think we have 2,600 subscribers and about, 100,000 people that visit the site. And they just don't subscribe. So come on over, subscribe. You make us happy. All right. That brings us to our Q&A. All right, Tyler, first one. Dwayne wants to know, he saw our Zoho People full product tutorial, and is there a video on how to properly perform a shift mapping report? I have downloaded the sample, but keep getting an error on the time and date formats. What does he need to do?
Date time formats. Ask any Zoho developer what they think about Zoho's management of date time. It's always a bit of a pain. So for doing an import, we don't have any videos on it. Off the top of my head, I actually don't know the preferred date time format for Zoho People. What you'd probably want to do as a first step is get in touch with Zoho's support team. They might be able to point you towards how to format those dates in a way that people will take them. Otherwise, we might have to put something like that on our list. I will say we don't work too much with Zoho People. It's one of those apps we'll kind of help people with just at a high level of kind of setting up some of the basics. So I've not actually run a shift mapping import myself to where I would know those date times off the top of my head.
Yeah, the only thing I can tell you, Dwayne, when you're in the spreadsheet before you do the import, go in and make sure you've formatted the date to be, you're going to have a few choices on import, but kind of a standard US one would be MM/DD/YYY, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times for Zoho, what they want is full calendar year -month dash day. And then if it's a date time, most of them want a capital T and then 24-hour hours, minutes, and seconds. And the tricky thing is they all process time zone differently. So that's oftentimes where you have to look at specifically what they need for that application on the time zone piece.
Yeah. We might have to take a look at that. We'll see if we can take a quick look at it, maybe shoot something out in the channel for you there. All righty. And then moving on to our next question. This was someone watched our Zoho One full product tutorial, which by far and away is the most popular video we've done this year. And if you haven't watched it, Tyler and I managed to blitz through all 40 plus apps in 1 hour and 3 minutes, plus give you our opinions, what we love about them, what we don't love about them. It's all there. So someone from YouTube asked, so are all of these apps included in Zoho One for no extra charges, specifically Zoho Desk? Yes, they are. They're all either enterprise or professional editions. They were all enterprise when it first launched, but I think now as they've rolled out new apps into it, it's enterprise or professional. And I think Zoho Desk is still the enterprise edition.
Yep, you'll have everything you need in Zoho Desk. There's just a handful of them that you might have an upgrade for if you have a specific use case. Like I know Backstage has kind of an upgrade plan within Zoho One. But for the most part, every app that we talked about in that webinar is definitely included. And the vast majority are going to be at the enterprise level.
All right. And Greg from the chat channel has asked if, by the way, I believe he might be, I think he directly reports to you, and he wants to know if the Zenatta channel reaches 5,000 subscribers, will Tyler shave his head?
I will not.
Will not. It's taking me too long to grow out these locks, Greg. I can't do it. All right. And Kevin wants to know, did that just pop? It did. Kevin's asking, have you run into any issues in Flow where you can't create a case record in the CRM? I think it's a bug, but have been about 6 weeks trying to get an answer and assistance from Zoho support. Anybody in the chat room from Zenatta team or Tyler?
I don't know. You want to shoot that our way, we could take a look. We don't find ourselves using the case record in the CRM too often. A lot of times we boot that stuff over to Desk, depending on the use case. What we could look at doing is you swap it to a function. When in doubt, if we're ever having an issue in Flow with a predefined action, we just build a piece of deluge code and run that in Flow instead. So yeah, Kevin, shoot that our way. We'll take a look at it for you. It's kind of odd. I've not heard of that issue in particular.
All right, and next question from Discover My Business. Can we hire you? Why, yes, Discover My Business, you can. Just head over to zenatta.com and book a meeting and, you can hire us. And then not a question, but this came on YouTube and I just had to include it. Thanks, Zenatta. Y'all are studs. And this was after watching the How to Change Default Fields Name, which was, I want to believe, in a CRM presentation we did a while ago.
That is a very, very, very hidden feature.
And Kevin Flynn in our chat room also wrote a whole article on how to do that over in the Zoho community as well. So not only are we studs, Kevin, you're a stud. Everybody's a stud. Anyway, thanks for that. We appreciate it. We really do enjoy doing this for everybody. All right. And with that, we're going to call it a show. If you have any questions or comments, please head over to zenatta.com and drop us a line.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes as well as show notes with links to all the stories we discussed today. As always, we'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, as well as on YouTube. We'll see you next Monday.